Before Messi, before Cristiano, there was him, the most unstoppable striker in history. But his real story? It's not about the goals. It's about the betrayal. Watch until the final reveal, if you can handle it. There are those who run after the ball with purpose, and then there was Ronaldo Nazário de Lima, the man who made the ball fall in love. No debate, no resistance. When he moved, he wasn't sprinting. He was soaring across the pitch, a thunderstorm wearing boots, leaving a trail of disbelief behind him. People didn't come to watch football when Ronaldo played. They came to witness something bordering on the divine. That's why people still cry. In a world where greatness is often measured by trophies and statistics, the story of Ronaldo Nazário is soaked in something deeper: emotion, tragedy, triumph, destruction, and resurrection. He didn't merely play football. He was football's living heartbeat. Before Lionel Messi seduced defenders with feints, and before Cristiano Ronaldo built a monument of power and persistence, Ronaldo Nazário was a myth breaking into reality. Ask any man who shared a pitch with him and watch their face shift. Widening eyes, lost in memory, overwhelmed by the ghost of what they saw. Rival players didn't just respect him, they feared him. They went to bed the night before matches replaying his movements in their minds, helpless even in their dreams. One opponent admitted it plainly: Ronaldo wasn't just a player, he was a force that possessed the field. He wasn't trained like the others. There was no regimen, no rigidity. He was a Brazilian boy sculpted by joy, shaped on beaches and backstreets, playing the game not with tactics, but with the freedom of soul. During his outrageous season with FC Barcelona, defenders weren't just beaten, they were humiliated. He would gather the ball in midfield, and then the world would blur. Compostela and Valencia still echo with the ghosts of what he did to them. With a drop of the shoulder, a flick, a charge of pace that made the camera struggle to keep up, Ronaldo turned pitches into battlegrounds of beauty. You didn't just watch him, you gasped. You laughed in disbelief. He didn't dribble like others. He hypnotized. This wasn't technique. This wasn't power. This was something else. He was Messi's artistry before Messi, Cristiano's physique before Cristiano, but blended. Ronaldo Nazário had it all. He had the vision. He had the build of a middleweight boxer. Biceps flexed like warning signs, shoulders wide enough to bear the expectations of a nation, and legs that moved like pistons. Combine that with the instincts of a panther and the imagination of a poet, and you begin to understand why defenders didn't just fail against him. They surrendered. Even in training, it was a spectacle. One teammate remembered vividly. A simple ball rolled to Ronaldo. A routine finish awaited. But as the defender slid across, expecting a first-time kick, Ronaldo stopped. He froze time, planted his foot on the ball, smiled, watched his marker fly past helplessly, and then gently tapped the ball into the net. It wasn't the move, it was the audacity, the joy, the casual cruelty. That's why people still cry. Others try the same moves. They failed, because when Ronaldo did it, the world paused. Crowds came just to see what he would do. Nothing else mattered. Even a normal became supernatural in his orbit. The absurd became expected. And still, every moment with him felt like a gift. A privilege. He wasn't just a player. He was the anomaly. He was the beautiful error in the matrix of sport. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, never short of confidence, once admitted that Ronaldo Nazário was the only player whose shirt he ever asked for. In a career surrounded by legends, Zlatan only bowed once. That was to the phenomenon. He wasn't the best because he had a good left foot or a great header. He was the best because he was complete. The archetype. He could be on the right, or the left, or dead center. Wherever he was the eye of the storm. Ask the Italian defenders of the late 90s, war-hardened, steel-hearted. They were statues when he approached. He didn't beat them, he erased them. One by one, legends turned to shadows under his gaze. Marco Materazzi, Lilian Thuram, Paolo Maldini, Alessandro Nesta, names carved into football's Mount Rushmore. Left behind, stunned, shamed. The best defensive lines in the world looked like amateurs. Fans remember that, and they cry. And then, the fall. The first knee gave way, and it felt like a tragedy Shakespeare himself couldn't write. Then the second knee collapsed, and it felt like the football gods were cruel beyond measure. How could this man, this deity, be forced off the field in tears? 3.5 years lost to injuries that should have ended a career. Not paused it, ended it. Ligaments torn, dreams threatened. Bodies don't come back from that. But he did. Most players fade. He resurrected. He came back. Heavy, mocked, doubted, but he came back. And then came the 2002 World Cup in South Korea and Japan, a tournament many thought he had no right to attend. But Ronaldo Nazário didn't just attend. He conquered. 8 goals, 2 in the final against Germany. The Golden Boot, a country reborn through his brilliance. A redemption arc no fiction writer could dare imagine. He came back from the abyss and sat on the throne again. That's why people still cry. And in between those two peaks, Barcelona's wild year and World Cup resurrection was in turmoil, an era haunted by injuries and glimpses of magic. Still, in moments, he painted masterpieces. In the UEFA Cup final against Lazio, he tore through the defense, rounded the keeper, and rolled the ball into the net with all the ease of a man taking a walk in the park. If grace could wear studs, it would look like that goal. He made impossible things seem effortless. Effortless things seem divine. And then came the move to Real Madrid. Galacticos assembled. Figo, Zidane, Beckham, Roberto Carlos, roll. But it was Ronaldo who drew gasps. His debut? A brace in minutes. The Bernabeu rose. The world stood still. It wasn't just a player returning. It was a myth resurrected. Again, even at half speed, he made defenders look like mannequins. One hat trick at Old Trafford stands eternal. The away crowd stood. They clapped. A standing ovation at your opponent's home. Football has few moments that pure. Still, the injuries returned. The battles with weight began. Whispers turned to ridicule. The world is cruel to its fallen heroes. But what they missed was that Ronaldo Nazário had already done more than most could dream. And more than all, he had moved people, not just fans, but players, managers, ball boys, stewards, even enemies. He made men cry, because watching him wasn't just watching sport. It was watching beauty try to survive in a brutal world. Even in his twilight years, even when the fire dimmed, the echoes remained. You could see it in a sudden burst of acceleration, in a flick, in a smirk. The boy who dribbled past 7 Compostela defenders was still inside. The man who said, "No, but I'm pretty sure they know me," when asked if he knew his opponents, that swagger remained. He didn't study them. He didn't need to. His presence alone was the warning. And that's why, decades later, YouTube still floods with tribute videos. Why the compilations never stop. Why young fans, born after his prime, still get goosebumps watching pixelated clips. Why grown men weep. Not because they saw goals, but because they saw grace. They saw what the game was supposed to be. Joy. Fearless joy. The kind that doesn't care about strategy or XG or heat maps. The kind that plays barefoot in the street, heart bursting. Ask the greats. Ask Zinedine Zidane. Ask Thierry Henry. Ask Kaká. Ask Ronaldinho. They all pause. They all inhale. And they say the same thing. Ronaldo Nazário, was it the one, the original? He didn't just redefine the striker role. He redefined imagination. He made football poetic. He made it tragic. And yet, triumphant. The ball moved faster when he touched it. The game tilted. And when he smiled, that wide, disarming, devil-may-care grin, it felt like the world could breathe again. He was the story arc, the full spectrum, genius and fragility, fire and ruin, phoenix and ash. And so when people watch Ronaldo Nazário today, the tears come easy. Not just because of what he did, but because of what could have been. Not just because of the goals, but because of the journey. Not just because of the fame, but because of the fight. They cry because they remember what it felt like to believe in magic. And because they fear they may never see it again. Now you've seen why Ronaldo Nazário wasn't just a legend. He was a living miracle on a football pitch. But how do you remember him? As the greatest talent football ever saw, or the greatest what could have been story? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the players who made football unforgettable.